Hello viewers, welcome back. We are now looking at the unlevered free cash flow schedule and want to make sure that we have it completed. So let's jump in and go through a full explanation to make sure that we have everything built up correctly in our model. All right, so right into this cell here, in this cell K11, what we are going to do, we are going to put in an equal sign. After putting in an equal sign, we are going to tap the left arrow to grab the previous year's EBITDA. Use the previous arrow to grab the previous year's EBITDA. We multiply that by opening bracket 1 plus this estimate here of 7.5. So we use the up arrow to go up there, and then we can close the bracket. So that's how we've been able to complete the first formula, and now we can hit enter so that we can get that value right there of 19,757,000. Now let's go ahead and progress downwards. We are going to first wait to fill these ones of this side. Let's first focus on this column, maybe that column alone, until you go through the Excel sheet, until you finish this first part of the model. Now let's now go ahead and we are going to go into this cell. So we are going to finalize these sections up to this P11 a little bit later, but for now we want to calculate these values here in K11. We are just going to throw this cell first so that we can, that column first, so that we can have some of those numbers done. Then we can do a copy and fill it later on. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go into this cell K11, and we are going to calculate the operating profit. In other words, the operating profit in that cell K11 will be the EBITDA up here. So we put in the equal sign, we pick the EBITDA that we've just computed in K11 minus the tax depreciation, this one below cell. So it is this minus the tax depreciation. We use the up arrow to go to the tax depreciation in that cell K13 right there, and then we can go down, can hit enter from this, then we go down and we calculate the current tax. Of course, calculate the current taxes. So what we are going to do in this case is we are going to take the operating profit and multiply it by this tax rate estimate of 17.5. So it's going to be this value here. We multiply it by this one, the tax rate, the estimate of 17%. So we shall get, we hit enter, we get that current tax, and then we can go down here and calculate these other areas. So what we are going to do in this case is we are going to make sure that we progress downwards. So we want to move all the way down here where it says unlevered free cash flow. We want to make sure that we have also that in place. We finish the whole section here for unlevered free cash flow. So we want to put in all the figures in that section until we reach at this row 28. So we are going to end up using the sum function in this section here, because we want to put in all these values here. But what we can do, we can maybe first connect these values. The EBITDA, you know where to pick it from. Because what we want to do here for this unlevered free cash flows, we just want to get the sum. We just put the sum function there, because we know that the sum function is actually super quick. It has a keyboard shortcut that we shall show you how to use it. But there we put in the sum function to make sure that we get the unlevered free cash flows, the totals. But with that in mind, we are going to need to show the cash flows as positive. In other words, here we need to show these cash flows as positive. The EBITDA, for EBITDA in cell K24 is supposed to be a positive value. And these two line items for current tax here, and then the cash flow from working, those two items are negatives. So let's go ahead and start linking those values. So with the EBITDA in cell K25, so we put this in that K24. So it is just, this one is very straightforward. It is just a straight link. We will tap equal sign and then use the up arrow to move all the way up here to EBITDA. We move up to here to EBITDA, then we hit enter. We've now connected that. Now, what we want to do in these other cells for current, tax, we want to also connect those cells. In cell K25, they are going to be cash outflows. So we are going to put in equal sign negative, because these ones are going to come as negative values. So we go to use the up arrow to connect these current taxes. So we come also, and so we've connected that. We need to connect now the cash flow from working. We need to connect, since we've connected the current tax in that cell K17, just like that, as we see over here for capital expenditure. We need also to connect this one for capital expenditure. Now, for this capital expenditure, as you can see over here, down here in this cell here, it says capital expenditure has been set equal to tax depreciation, meaning that note there says that the capital expenditure, they are the same as the tax expenditures. So we are just going to pull that figure for this. You've seen this capital expenditure we pulled, because we are going to pull this value here for capital expenditure. We are going to put in an equal sign. They are also going to come as a negative values because they are cash outflows. Capital expenditure and capital allowance, or the capex, it is this value there. So I've pulled that. We already have the cash flows from working capital. These ones are already there. So here we are just going to put in the sum function. So as we said, we are going to put in the sum function to have those in place. So we've connected those values, the tax depreciation, the capex was set as tax depreciation. So we have connected it to row 13, and we have also connected the current taxes to row 17. So we've done that perfectly. Now what we want to do is in this cell here, row 28, and want to put in a little sum function. So we go, because it's going to be EBITDA minus current tax minus this, then plus or minus this. If it was a positive, we would add it. But since it is already negative, we have to deduct it. the cash flow from working capital. So what we are going to do, we put in a sum function. So let's go through a manual way of doing this with the keyboard, because we want to go to using the keyboard first, and then we shall show you a little keyboard shortcut. So that shortcut that will help us to actually have the sum function in place really faster. So we have to put in equal sign. Here we are going to basically use the keyboard. So we put in the equal sign. Now what we are going to do, we go and type in sum, S-U-M. The moment you see it there, you hit the tab key, and you can see the sum has actually opened up the bracket. Now to get to the first cell, we can just tap the up arrow there. And now, because we want to highlight all those values, what we are going to do from this point, we are going to select all the way to the top. And the way we are going to do it is by holding the Control and Shift key all together, and then you tap the up arrow. It will determine where to end. The other option would be, let me just go back. If I go back to that, the other option would be you hold down the Shift key, then you use the up arrow to highlight like that. But the other one does it faster, because you just hold down Control and Shift, then use the up arrow. It will take you to the top, or it will highlight for you all the values. So that gets us to the end of that range of numbers. Normally, what we normally do after selecting the range, we always want to close the bracket, and then we hit enter. But one little tip, if you are only putting one set of bracket, like the way you are seeing there, we have only one set of bracket in Excel. You don't have to close the brackets. So we can just hit enter now. So you don't have to close the second bracket if you have just opened only one set of bracket. But if there are many, you make sure you close them off. So if you just hit enter without closing the bracket, Excel will close those brackets for you, just like the way we've done. So we built this manually just to show you the keystrokes, since you would need those keystrokes if you are doing a function other than sum, because there are other things that you are going to do, like average, like mean, median, mode. So those are the things that you will do when you are using those keystrokes. That's why we had to go through that manual way. But now we can go back to this cell, K28, and we can now we can delete this. We can first undo this, Control Z. And now when we are in that very cell, K28, where I want to put the sum function, you can just come here and hit a one shortcut that will take you to that point, Alt equals, and it has provided for us the sum function. So it puts in the sum function with open and close brackets. It correctly detects exactly where the numbers start and end, and then you can just hit enter and you have the same answer like we had before. So once again, Alt equals and then hit enter. It is super quick. Now, we purposely built just one column. You've seen we built only one column, that is the column that we only develop, column K. We did that on purpose because it can be really quick to copy across from left to right. It will be very easy for us to copy to this side here. It will be very easy for us. So we did that on purpose. That's why we took only one column. So let's get started on the process right now, and we see how we can be able to copy and paste the formulas that we put in place. So we can start from that point, K11. Now, when people use the mouse to build financial model, they often click here. They click and drag things. For example, right here in this cell, K11, if you want to copy the EBITDA from left to right, what you would do, you would come here with your mouse, you grab this small plus symbol. When you see that small plus symbol, this one, as you can see from here, when that happens, what you do, you just hold it from there, then you start dragging to your right, and you can have that filled up. So they wait for that tiny plus sign and you drag across. Because if you try to drag across up to there, you'll have the answers. The answers are still correct. But now there are now two problems that we've just got with just using that. Because remember, these were the borders. Number one of the problems, it is even slow, because we have to find that mouse and aim certainly for the corner of that very cell for that plus symbol to appear. But the other problem, if you look closely here in this cell P11, we have just copied everything across, and it effectively elasts the nice formatting that we had over in this column here for the terminal column. Remember this terminal column, the whole of this, we had some borders in here. It has deleted it. So what we do, we first undo that, Control Z. These borders were already off, but we want our borders to be there. In other words, our little formattings, let them be available. Now, what are we going to do? So let's now try to do things in a different way. So what we are going to do, instead of us doing a copy and paste, do a normal paste throughout, what we are going to do, we are going to copy that cell K11, do a normal copy, Control C, and what we are going to do, we are going to hold down the Shift key when we use the right arrows to highlight across. We've highlighted all the sections that we want. Now what we are going to do, we are going to use Control Alt V. That is for paste special, which brings up that paste special dialog box. So what we are going to do, we are going to use the down arrow here to go to formulas, and then we can hit enter. You will see that we've gotten the same answers, but we have not deleted our nice formattings, meaning we only copied their formulas alone. So it is really nice. So what is really nice about this technique is that Excel has pasted only the formulas, and it never pasted the formattings that we had in that cell, even though we had copied it. So it was able to preserve the nice little borders, these borders that we put in that terminal here. So let's try again and do the same thing for the next row for this operating profit. So we need to also fill in that section there. So we are going to do the same thing. We do a copy, Control C, then we use the Shift key to highlight across. You use Shift, you hold down the Shift key, then you use the right arrow to move across, to highlight across. And now what we are going to do, we are going to go to Control Alt V for paste special. Then we go down to formulas, use the down arrow to go down to formulas, you hit enter, and we've gotten that in place. Now, another way to get into that special, paste special, is to use Alt ES. That Alt ES brings up the same menu down to formulas, and then you hit enter. So let's try that out. We first copy this one, Control C, hold down the Shift key, use the right arrow to highlight across, then use Alt ES. It brings the same paste special function. Then we use the down arrow to go down to formulas, you hit enter, and we are done. That's perfect. So the shortcut is, it's either you are going to use the Alt ES, the shortcut is either you are going to use Alt plus ES, or you will use Control, you hold down Control plus Alt, then V. Both do what we call paste special. So that's what we wanted to discuss from that perspective. So we are going to do the same thing as we progress to the next sections. So we are going to progress downwards when we are doing the same thing. So we go to these other areas here. These ones, actually, we can come and highlight them all at once. We could grab this bunch of cells and hold them. You can come here, you hold down the Shift key, you use the down arrow, you move up to that row 26, then you use the right arrow as you are still holding the Shift key to highlight across like that. Now what you are going to do, you are going to hit Alt ES, then you use the down arrow to go down to formulas, and then you hit enter. Sorry, we didn't copy. So we first hold down this, because what are we pasting? We didn't copy anything. So we hold down the Shift key, we highlight downwards there. Then we do a copy, Control C, and after that, then we highlight across. Shift, you hold down the Shift key, use the right arrow to highlight across, then Alt ES. You use the down arrow to go to formulas, you hit enter. We've put everything in place. That's what we call paste special. So for you to be able to highlight, we said you hold down the Shift key, and then you use the arrows, either down arrow or right arrow. So you can be able to highlight those values there. So we've done that, and we have those values in place. Now what we want to do, we have to go to this last one, K28. So we copy, we do Control C to copy, use the Shift key, hold down the Shift key, use the right arrow, Alt ES, use the down arrow to go to formulas, hit enter. We've done filling. What we have done is we have completed the unlevered free cash flow, what has been shortened to be Ufcf. So we are all now set for this page, and we can see in the next video that we are going to start on the next schedule, because we have done filling the first schedule. So this one, a discounted cash flow schedule, is the one that we are going to look at in the next video. Let's see you in the next video as we are looking at the discounted cash flow schedule, part 1. We see you there.